In the shadowed realm of power, where manipulation reigns supreme, one figure stands tall, pulling the strings with unrivaled mastery. Welcome to the enthralling world of Frank Costello. In this gripping video, we delve into the enigmatic persona of Frank Costello, a Machiavellian strategist par excellence, who danced through the corridors of organized crime, leaving a trail of deception, coercion, and calculated maneuvers in his wake. Frank Costello from The Departed is based on James Whitey Bulger of Boston's Winter Hill Gang. Both the character and the historical figure share the same name and have ties to organized crime, demonstrating cunning and strategic prowess as they navigate the criminal underworld. They possess significant influence and maintain connections with corrupt individuals in positions of power. However, there are notable distinctions between the real Frank Costello and the character depicted in the film. The historical context differs, with the real Costello operating in the mid-20th century New York City, while the film's character operates in contemporary Boston. These differences in time and location shape their specific criminal activities. Additionally, their ethnic backgrounds diverge, as the real Costello is Italian-American, whereas the film's character is Irish-American. This creative choice reflects the film's focus on the Irish-American mob in Boston. The personal backgrounds of the two individuals also vary. The film's character is portrayed as growing up in a rough neighborhood and enduring a troubled childhood, while limited information is available about the real Costello's early life. Furthermore, their fates take different paths, with the real Costello retiring after being convicted of income tax evasion, while the film's character faces a more traumatic destiny as the story unfolds. In the movie, Frank Costello is depicted as an Irish Catholic individual at a time when the Irish face discrimination in America. Although initially good at school, he gradually adopts the belief that education is paradoxical. Costello develops his own set of thoughts and morality, according to which one must be willing to do anything, including killing, to achieve personal ambition and obtain what one desires in life. He believes that nobody gives you anything. You must seize it for yourself. The film primarily revolves around two characters: Billy Costigan, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, an undercover cop infiltrating Frank's crew, and Colin Sullivan, played by Matt Damon, an FBI agent with a close relationship with Frank. Both characters are assigned the task of exposing the mole within their respective organizations, leading to a deadly confrontation orchestrated by Frank, who exhibits no remorse for his actions. Jack Nicholson delivers an exceptional performance as Costello, portraying a character who epitomizes unparalleled evil, while Scorsese had previously depicted vicious and brutal characters such as Tommy in Goodfellas. Costello's sadistic nature distinguishes him. However, The Departed includes subtle hints suggesting that Frank might be more than just a depraved Boston gangster, possibly even Satan himself. These clues evident through musical cues, direct quotations referencing Lucifer, and deliberate choices made by Scorsese and writer William Monahan, which raises suspicions about Frank's origin. One aspect highlighting Frank's potential association with evil is his disdain for the church. The film represents a Roman Catholic worldview with characters engaging in discussions about faith. In contrast, Frank consistently criticizes the church, insulting people's beliefs and attempting to undermine their faith. In one monologue, he expresses his thoughts saying, "Church wants you in your place. Kneel, stand, kneel, stand. If you go for that sort of thing, I don't know what to do for you." The dialogue draws parallels to the character of the devil. Costello harbors a strong aversion towards the Catholic Church and recognizes that he can also hold power over priests and nuns. It is revealed that he had a sexual relationship with a nun and condemns priests who cover up cases of child abuse. This demonstrates the extent of his sexual exploitation, having taken a bribe of the Lord before the Lord himself, thereby corrupting the clergy and the honesty of the nun. After evading a police ambush, Costello encounters Colin Sullivan, whom he had raised as a godson. Sullivan questions him about his relationship with the FBI, but Costello assures him that he is like a son and would never betray him. Sullivan taunts him about this, accusing him of committing murders, engaging in promiscuity, and failing to produce any children. Crucially, Costello reveals that he is sterile. Enraged, Costello attempts to shoot Sullivan, but Colin manages to evade the attack and kill him instead. For Frank Costello, Billy Costigan and Colin Sullivan were like his legacies, akin to his own children, and he served as their father figure. Despite having raised Sullivan for years, guiding him to follow in his footsteps, Sullivan proves to be weak, succumbing to fear when confronted by Costello. Costello possessed recordings of their conversations, which could have been used against the FBI. He trusted Sullivan more than Costigan because he recognized Sullivan's potential and believed that he understood how to embody his philosophy, as well as being more similar to himself than Costigan. Throughout The Departed, Frank manipulates Sullivan, assigning him dangerous tasks and pressurizing him to act against his own desires. Sullivan's entire existence revolves around fulfilling Frank's wishes, including his entry into the police force. Notably, Sullivan repeatedly attempts to negotiate with Frank, but the devilish character never yields. This symbolism is further emphasized through mise-en-scène, with Frank consistently bathed in red lighting. The film leaves little room for subtlety in suggesting that Frank represents more than just a typical Scorsese mobster. As is evident, Costello embodies a distinct philosophy that revolves around power, survival, and the corrupting influence of society. The opening scene sets the tone for Frank Costello's character, showcasing his confidence, authority, and intimidation tactics. He establishes control over Vin and targets his daughter, exhibiting his dominance. Costello's worldview is shaped by his criminal activities, his understanding of human nature, and his desire to maintain control. Throughout the film, he engages in various actions and dialogues that provide insight into his philosophical perspective. At the core of Frank Costello's philosophy is the idea of power and control. He believes that power is the ultimate currency in life and grants him the ability to manipulate people and situations to his advantage. He displays an unwavering determination to retain his dominance, both within his criminal empire and in his interactions with the police. His Machiavellian traits align with the political philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli. Costello manipulates and deceives others, convinced that power is essential for survival. He embodies the notion that the ends justify the means, disregarding conventional moral considerations. For instance, Costello mentors Colin Sullivan, grooming him to become a mole within the Massachusetts State Police, thereby ensuring his continued influence over law enforcement. Costello's understanding of human nature is a crucial aspect of his philosophy. Similar to existential thinkers such as Jean-Paul Sartre and Friedrich Nietzsche, Costello responds to the existential struggle by embracing a nihilistic worldview. He perceives society as inherently corrupt, viewing survival and power as the only meaningful pursuits in an indifferent world. He recognizes that individuals are inherently flawed and easily susceptible to corruption. He exploits these weaknesses to his advantage, manipulating individuals to serve his interests. An example of this can be seen in his relationship with Billy Costigan, an undercover cop who infiltrates Costello's gang. Costello identifies Billy's vulnerability and exploits it to maintain his trust, while simultaneously extracting valuable information for the police. Another significant aspect of Costello's philosophy is his perception of society. He regards society as a corrupt and hypocritical entity where everyone harbors hidden agendas. Costello's criminal activities can be seen as a reflection of his belief that society is fundamentally flawed, with everyone engaged in an endless game of deceit and manipulation. Costello dismisses utilitarianism, prioritizing his own power and survival over the well-being of others. His rejection of the social contract, as discussed by philosophers like Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, is evident in his criminal activities. This perspective is evident in his dialogue with Sullivan, where he questions the integrity of those in positions of power and authority. Survival is another crucial aspect of Costello's philosophy. He operates under the assumption that, in order to survive in a ruthless world, one must be willing to eliminate threats without hesitation. This is reflected in his violent and unpredictable behavior throughout the film. Costello eliminates those he deems disloyal or a threat to his power, reinforcing his dominance and ensuring his survival. One notable example is when he kills a henchman in front of his gang, sending a message about the consequences of betrayal. Frank's ideology encompasses a disdain for black individuals and a belief that one must seize what they desire because nobody will give it to them. He instills loyalty and brutality in his associates, evident through their violent acts. Frank's casual violence and sadism further highlights his twisted nature. Amidst his sadism, Frank exhibits amiability and a force of will, using his likable demeanor and manipulative skills to his advantage. His intelligence is evident in his ability to evade capture and manipulate law enforcement as an FBI informant. Frank acknowledges that individuals with talent should contribute to society rather than becoming criminals. However, he hypocritically grooms children like Colin to join his organization, exploiting their potential. Frank's intelligence is tainted by ego, greed, and paranoia, isolating him from his associates and leading to his downfall. Ultimately, Frank meets his fate at the hands of his own creation, betrayed by Colin for being an informant. Frank's legacy is one characterized by control, brutality, and the suffering of those around him. His criminal empire thrives through manipulation, violence, and the fear he instills in his subordinates. In the end, Frank receives his just desserts, but his victims extend beyond those directly affected by his crimes. The boys he groomed to be like him suffer a similar fate, becoming casualties of his twisted legacy. However, as the film progresses, it becomes apparent that Costello's philosophy is ultimately self-destructive. His obsession with power and survival leads to a constant state of paranoia and mistrust, alienating those around him. He becomes increasingly isolated, relying on manipulation and violence as his only means of maintaining control. In the end, his philosophy proves to be his downfall, as his actions catch up with him and he meets a violent end. Now it's time for you to take action. Have you encountered any Machiavellian figures in your personal or professional lives? How did you navigate their tactics? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this video and found it thought-provoking, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you crave more captivating analysis like these, hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for joining us. Keep exploring good movies.